This robot vacuums so you don't have to. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and if there's one thing I dislike, it's household chores. There's just something about doing the same thing again and again and again that feels really kind of pointless. On the other hand, who wants to live in a dirty house? Not me. So that's why I really love things like this robot vacuum cleaner that automate tasks that I don't want to do. This one's actually particularly nice. This is the Roborock S6 MaxV robot vacuum cleaner. And what makes this really cool, perhaps most notably, is that there are dual cameras in front. So it actually has a whole AI obstacle avoidance system that they call reactive AI, and it avoids things like shoes, like electrical cords, most importantly, like pet waste. I did not test the pet waste avoidance because luckily I only have cats right now, but if there's one thing that makes you instantly hate robot vacuum cleaners is when they're too dumb to recognize that that is actually something you don't want to go through. So the Roborock solves that problem with AI, and it uses dual cameras, so it also has the ability to sort of do some depth analysis too. I'll show you some sample footage because one of the things it lets you do is it lets you tap into the video stream so you can watch the vacuum eye view as it vacuums your house, which is a little weird actually. And I gotta say, when I'm watching it through there, I'm like, where is it? Oh, because you're so used to looking at things from your sort of standing height that having it be 2 inches from the ground is a whole nother experience. Good fun. So let's see, it also uses LiDAR, which is what this thing on top is, and that gives it the ability to map the space as it goes so that, as you can see in this image, it can make sure it gets every square inch. Now, I have a number of robot vacuums I've tried that just sort of randomly drive around and you just hope when they're done that they've gotten every space. I much prefer this approach where it actually goes back and forth methodically until it finishes a zone, then it goes to the next zone, and then it does that same back and forth nice and methodically. Way better. Now, all of the controls and everything primarily is through the app, and their app is pretty sweet. There's a lot you can do with it. In fact, you could have multiple vacuum cleaners if you want. Though this one you can pick up and put in on another floor and turn it on again. It can handle up to 4 floors if you have a really huge mansion or a really tiny place with a lot of floors. They don't have one yet that can go up and down stairs. It's a little creepy when they do, but until then, this is a great solution. Now, I want to show you on the unit itself, there are 3 buttons here, but what I really like is that these companies are starting to really think through how do you access the stuff. So here, to get to the dustbin, there's a lid you lift. And then the dustbin is right in here. It comes right out. And that's a pretty decent capacity for people that aren't sure. You can push and open, and that's how you empty it. And then there's also a filter in here, and it comes with a spare filter. They say this is a HEPA type filter. So I don't think it's 100% full HEPA filtration, but it does a really nice job. And I know that every so often when I actually blow through it or use the vacuum cleaner, it picks up a whole lot of stuff that this has trapped. Now, one of the other things they've done is they've recognized you need a cleaning brush, and more importantly, you need a little cleaning blade because on the roller, hair gets caught. That's just the way they are. So with this, you can just slice across it, pull everything out, super easy to clean. Well done thinking through that we might need that. And then there are a couple of hidden controls here. You don't really have to worry about them too much. And then if we flip it upside down, actually before I flip it upside down, you'll notice that there's this clear plastic. This is a water reservoir. If you want to use this for mopping, it can handle it. And what you do is you put water in there, you attach this mop head surface, and then in the app, you actually turn it to mop mode and define zones and stuff. Now, I don't really need to mop too often, but what I need to do is constantly be vacuuming with 2 cats and a daughter who seems to shed, which I guess we all do. There's a lot of dust and dirt and hair in my environment. And honestly, a lot of robot vacuums can't handle it. They just sort of get clogged up and gasp and fall over dead. So this one has done really well, and it's easy to clean. So if I flip it upside down, you can see there's this one little flippy thing, and that pulls dust into, or dirt into the line of the roller. So the roller's only this wide. So that's how much it's actually cleaning on each pass. So if you watch it, it actually overlaps on its pattern to make sure that everything gets cleaned. And then with this, you just open this and you can pull this out, and you can see it's a little dirty. I do clean it. Basically, after every single time I use it, I clean my vacuum because I would like it to last a long time because I don't want to do the job. And that's basically it. There are sensors here, and then there's 2 metal things here. Actually, I guess there's 4 sensors. So that is when people ask, does it fall off the edge of stairs? No, that's what these sensors are. In fact, there's 6 sensors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're all figuring out that you're at the edge of something, stop. And it does not, in fact, fall downstairs, which is good. And then there's the water reservoir, there's the roller. These wheels are specially designed not to mar or leave any marks on any surface, from your super fancy hardwood floors to linoleum to tiles to whatever, obviously to carpet. And that's pretty much the deal. There is a device that plugs into your wall, and that becomes its charging station. And one of the things I really like about it, it has a really weirdly big battery. It has a 5,200 milliamp hour battery, which gives you 180 minutes of runtime. Sounds like a really long time, but these work fairly slowly because they're just methodically back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So with other vacuums I've had, it's taken 2 or 3 passes for it to actually finish my floor. And I have about, I don't know, 1,100 square feet on my main floor. This one does the whole thing in one charge, which is really nice because it just means it's that much more time efficient. So what else can I tell you? We'll get to the app in just a second. The company is very privacy savvy, so when it's using the AI and analysis and everything, nothing's stored, nothing's pushed up to the cloud. It's all processed locally, which is good. I'll show you the video stream. It has atypically great suction too. In maximum suction mode, it's 2,500 pascals. And if you don't know how to measure suction, well, probably neither does anyone else outside of their engineering labs. But 2,500 pascals is pretty decent. You will see this when it goes back and forth on carpet. When it's done, you can see that the carpet's cleaner and that there are these nice even edge lines. I really like that look. It's just like, oh, look, someone cleaned my house. Huzzah. You can set manual no-go zones. You have to actually, if you're using the mopping system, you have to actually use the app to define where it can mop and where it can't. Someday, I suppose it will be able to automatically sense whether it's a hard or soft surface like a carpet or something. Not there quite yet. The water storage container that I showed you a minute ago is 297 milliliters, so it's basically 300 milliliters of water, which isn't a whole lot, but I don't really, like I said, use this for mopping, so I have no sense whether, I think that would cover maybe about 200 square meters or so, which would be, you know, maybe your kitchen and your dining area, but that's about it. But still, any work at all that this robot does is work you don't have to do. So let's jump into some examples. So what I want to show you first is this actually just vacuuming, and I'm going to put a shoe in the way and we'll see how it handles that. Now let's look at the view straight off the robot vacuum cleaner while it's actually vacuuming. Now, when we look in the app, you can notice it's identified that shoe on the map, which is cool. But the bigger map, the one that I actually like to look at, is the one the LiDAR system generates. And you can see it gets increasingly accurate. It even can see out windows, even if it can't actually get to that space. I really don't need this vacuuming up my back patio with 4 inches of snow. That would not end well. But it is interesting to get like an instant floor plan of your house. And then you can assess how is it doing. And more importantly, you can do that from a long distance. You can be 500 miles away. This thing's on your Wi-Fi network. The app runs obviously over the internet, so you can control it. You can turn it on. You can peek at video. You can even send audio messages. So if it's like your dog's right in the way, you could have it stop, and then you could say, Rover, get out of the way. And the dog's gonna be like, why is that robot talking to me? And probably go back to sleep. So I don't know if that would work, but you can try it. But generally speaking, what I really love to do is I'll turn it on as I leave my house to go run errands or do something. And then every so often, I'll just go ahead and peek at the map and see how it's doing. And eventually it'll say 100% and done. And I can see those neat little vacuum path lines on every single square foot of my house. How is that not the most fantastic invention ever? I mean, I really like these things. And this one does a great job. You know, one of the things I've found with a lot of these is that I have to go around the house and clean up stuff before I can turn it on. And this one does a pretty darn good job of negotiating and managing things that other robot vacuums get stuck on. So that's another big win for this. In terms of its object recognition, well, I found out that like sandals, it did not categorize as shoes, and it would just sort of come up to them and then try to push them out of the way. Not a big deal, but obviously this is something where you might, have to do the tiniest bit of prep because they're not super smart. They're not, if you set up an obstacle course of Lego, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be able to handle it. I don't have Lego. I haven't tested that. So overall though, boy, there's a lot to like about this. It's a little on the spendy side for a robot vacuum cleaner, but this is one that's a set and forget. Just turn this thing on and walk out of your house or go to bed, whatever. And at its lowest suction setting, it's pretty darn quiet. At its highest suction setting, it's pretty loud, so you won't want to do that while you're watching a movie on TV. But I guess if you have headphones, you could do that. But in any case, turn this thing on and forget about it. And then in an hour, hour and a half, it will have fully vacuumed. It'll go back to its dock. And all you have to do is a quick empty, maybe a quick clean every so often of the roller. And it's doing all the work for you. I adore these things. I mean, I want to have these everywhere. I actually have 2 in my house, one upstairs and one downstairs. So cool stuff. Now, let's see. Anything else that I should be telling you about that I did not mention? Oh, it does work with Alexa. I haven't tried that. I don't really understand my usage case in that sense, where I guess I would tell my system to turn on the vacuum cleaner, but honestly, tap, go, done. It's not like it's really hard to get the app to do it. And let's see, you can do 4 different levels, 10 different go or no go or mop or no mop zones per level. And I think that's everything, right? We talked about the HEPA type filter and everything and the extra one that it comes with. And obviously it's in a nice big shiny box. Lots to like. So what we need to talk about is the price. But before we get to the price, if I can ask for you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, just a click or a tap on that red subscribe button and we're connected. Really do appreciate that. All right, cool. This is the Roborock S6 MaxV robot vacuum cleaner, and it is $699.99 at Amazon.com. And you should go and look at Amazon reviews because everyone loves this thing. This is a solid 5 stars down the list. So definitely worth checking out. I need to put it back on the floor and get it back to work, which means I'll catch you in my next video.